What's up, friends? Happy Friday and welcome into Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com with Dan Courtwright. I'm Sean Kellerman. Thanks for joining us. And I want to call out real quick Miles Schneer, Crown Automotive, a great partner in helping make this video cast possible. Hey, we are live at the Kansas Nation Studios on Mass Street, talking all things KU. Thanks for rolling with us every day, Monday through Friday. Got an exciting show today. We're going to open, of course, previewing KU football against Cincinnati. Will the Hawks have a number next to their name if they pick up a victory at the booth tomorrow? Talking about that here in the open, and then we're going to give some NFL game picks, a big one, maybe a little bit of a Chiefs preview next segment. Chiefs-Ravens, battle of a couple 1 and 2 teams.
Yeah, that's weird.
Didn't see that coming.
No, I think at this point, so is this a more important game? We can get more into this, but is this a more important game for the Chiefs to win or the Ravens to win?
Oh man, I think because it's at home, the Chiefs got to win.
Yeah, all right, okay.
I think
sure.
whoever was the home team.
Yeah, but the Ravens, they kind of feel like that window is closing, right? I mean, because Derrick Henry's getting a little older, and now he did have 200 yards against the Bills, but you got to think, hey, Derrick Henry doesn't have a lot of time left. Lamar Jackson, he's still good, but
I think they're young.
Mark Andrews is getting older. I mean,
Lamar Jackson's he was drafted in 2019, so he's 28 or so. So he's got time. Mark Andrews, I agree, is getting older, but likely
Zay Flowers could
be back.
I think he's got a contract extension coming up, so it's like.
Chiefs got to win this one because they're at home, but it's a big game for both teams, and the Chiefs are underdogs, so that'll be a part of our NFL Game Picks segment next segment, and then we're going to be joined live in studio by the voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, Brian Hanni. He's going to sit on our beautiful couch here at the Kansas Nation Studios, break down maybe a word or two on the West Virginia game. Yeah, it's been 6 days, but still, we want to relive that victory, get the opinions of Haney before, of course, previewing Cincinnati tomorrow at 11. And then after that, Dan, it's a sports stock market.
Ding, 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 ding.
Should we change the name of the segment, you asked?
Should we? So, Rock Chalk's stock market? Rock Chalk stock
market. I like
Rock
it.
stock market? Stock chalk
Rock Chalk
market?
stock. I don't know. We'll have to take a vote here.
We'll workshop.
For now, sports stock market with visuals. You won't want to miss that. We'll take you around the world of sports. Exciting times. We're winding down the MLB regular season. A few things to still be decided, particularly in the AL Central. So keep an eye on that and be ready for that in the 5 o'clock hour. After that, we're going to hear from KU volleyball coach Matt Ulmer, as KU volleyball has an Arizona swing at home this weekend. Tonight, KU and number 8 Arizona State at Horace Family Volleyball Arena. We haven't seen them at home all year. What a way to start with a top 10 opponent. Should be exciting.
Absolutely. Henry Greenstein revenge game, as you know. Zoe Burgess revenge game.
Sam Cunliffe revenge game.
Remy Martin
revenge game.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So really exciting, obviously, to see them back in action at Horace. Their record is not an indication of how good this team actually is. They've lost to a lot of really, really solid teams, and Arizona State is another solid team, but coming into Horace, I think is going to be absolutely huge, and this is going to be a lot of the girls' first time since the alumni scrimmage that they've played in Horace. So really, really exciting. This is going to be Matt Ulmer's first time playing an actual game at Horace.
And what a way to start. Well, it's exciting, too. You get Arizona State. Of course, when you lost Texas, who's a perennial power in regards to volleyball, that's a bummer because that was always the best game on the schedule for KU volleyball. But ASU, they're a top 10 team. They won the Big 12 last year. KU finished second. So, again, a great way to start. And then the Wildcats, who also have a good program, coming to town on Sunday. And we're going to close out the show, Dan giving some college football game picks. We'll talk a little soccer, a little volleyball, as I mentioned, but let's start with this big game tomorrow. Cincinnati, we've been previewing it all week. We'll talk to Haney a little bit later about it, but Cincinnati comes in with a 2-1 record. They were idle last week. Will that be a factor? Not so sure. This is their first Big 12 game. Kansas 3-1, 1-0 in conference. 41-10, KU beat West Virginia last week, and that 10 number, the fewest points Kansas allowed in a conference game since 2007. So that's a plus, and it's going to be a challenge against a Bearcats team who has a star quarterback in Brendan Sorsby, and we'll talk about that here shortly. But Dan, let's talk Cincy. They lost to Nebraska at Arrowhead in Week 1. That was the Thursday night game before the full Week 1 slate got started. Defeated Bowling Green 34-20. Quasi-comfortably there, and then obviously blew the doors off a terrible Northwestern State program, 70-0. And now they've had this bye week, right? Kansas got that before West Virginia came to town when West Virginia had to play the week prior and KU was off. Well, now Cincinnati, they've had a lot of time to prepare for KU. Your thoughts overall on this one?
Yeah, I think that obviously the bye week, I think, means quite a bit. Now, Kansas, they did go out and blow the doors off of West Virginia, so you have to believe that that momentum heading into this game is going to be a factor for Kansas. But Cincinnati coming off of a 70-0 win against Northwestern State, and then obviously going into a bye week heading into Kansas, that's obviously going to be a big time thing for them, right? And we know all of the usual suspects. Brendan Sorsby, a really good dual threat quarterback, can do it on his legs. He's their leading rusher right now with 175 yards on the year. 96 of those came from the Nebraska game, though. Now, granted, didn't play down the stretch against Northwestern State and didn't have to do it on his legs because the pass rush, I think, was not exactly great with those two teams. Now, Nebraska's pass rush has been good. Their offensive line does scare me because they haven't let up a sack at all this year. So that could be a concern. Now, we do have obviously confidence in Dean Miller and Leroy Harris and Justice Finkley, those kind of guys coming off of the edge. We think they're going to get some pressure, but Brendan Sorsby is still a very tough quarterback to get down. Reminds you a lot of Jalen Daniels in terms of the fact that he just makes things happen, right? But I think he's a little bit like Nico Markiel in terms of the fact that if you get him flushed out of the pocket and you don't allow him to get that edge and rush, I think that you have to let him beat you on the run through the air, if that makes sense, right? You have to have him flushed out of the pocket and make him throw the ball instead of allowing him to run. Because we talked about this yesterday about how Brendan Sorsby, kind of like a Jalen Hurts type of quarterback where, he feels one iota of breath on him, boom, he's running. He's gone, right? So I think that's something to kind of keep your eye on. So this is going to be a big game for the linebackers as well. I think Trey Lathan's going to have a big game in terms of keeping him contained. The Hawk linebacker position, which that's going to be a tough one because right now Mason Ellis, he is listed as questionable. I believe he's listed as doubtful as of right now. Now you still have Saeed Gibbs at that Hawk linebacker position, but how much is that Hawk linebacker position going to be playing down into the run fit? You would imagine probably a lot because you're going to have that contain on the quarterback and their rush. They do have Towie Walker, who we saw a couple of years ago. He has 151 yards on the season with 24 carries, 6.3 yards per, but also it's not a lot of carries for the bell cow, I guess, on that offense.
We're still early enough in the season to where you can look at that, and we were talking a little bit off air about how Sorsby's got 22 carries and Towie Walker has 24, but we're early enough in the season where you just still can't quite read into that too much because they won the last game 70-0. Right. So that they don't, we don't know. Towie Walker's averaging 8 carries per game, but maybe that number realistically is going to be 15, 17 in Big 12 play.
Yeah.
And same with Sorsby, and we've got some numbers on him as well, but Sorsby is where it starts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've been referring to him as the head of the snake, and I think that's where this game is won or lost is whether or not Brendan Sorsby has a good game or a bad game. So this offense does scare me. Former Lindenwood legend Jeff Caldwell, he's their leading receiver right now with 172 yards on the year. Jake Golday, he's actually their leading tackler. I'm flipping over to the defensive side of the things because Dante Corleone has been dealing with an ankle injury. A couple weeks ago, he was in a boot on a scooter, which doesn't bode well for him to be playing. We understand that he is on the questionable, doubtful side of things for them. He's not listed as out, so he's still could potentially play. Dante Corleone, preseason Big 12 defensive player of the year. So obviously that's a big time piece for their defense that they're going to be seeing. But Jake Golday, he already has a Big 12 defender of the week winner. So that's something to kind of keep your eye out where their defense isn't just Dante Corleone. They have a really good linebacker room as well. They run that 3-3-5 with the rover. I absolutely love that defense. You know how I feel about that defense. And Kansas has had some success with it in the past, especially against West Virginia. West Virginia also had a 3-man front, a little bit different in terms of schematic wise. They didn't utilize the rover. They also had a couple of different guys playing kind of in that linebacker spot. It's kind of some guys playing down, but still a 3-down front. And I think that Kansas really needs to get their run game going against this 3-man front, especially if Dante Corleone is not going to be playing in this game. Now, Daniel Highshaw, That's the big question. He is listed as doubtful. So we're probably going to see another Le'Shawn Williams game. Can Le'Shawn Williams use that momentum that he had from the West Virginia game with that long 60s whatever yard rush and obviously the fake triple option wheel route touchdown? Can Le'Shawn Williams take that momentum and use it in the Cincinnati game? I certainly think that he can. Plus, you have other guys back there too. I mean, that's something that we talked about in the offseason quite a bit, is just the depth in this running back room, where there are guys who aren't out there on the field where they would have been a starter on this Kansas offense probably in that whole 2010s, right? Johnny Thompson would have been the best running back on the squad back in the 2010s. Same with Harry Stewart, same with Justin Thurman, even, right? We haven't even seen what Justin Thurman can do, except for in that Wagner game where he broke off a long 40+ yard run that got called back, and then he had a 33-yard run. So I'm excited to see what this running back room can do, and if Daniel Highshot winds up not playing, I think that we're probably going to see a little bit of them, just some rotational pieces, because we saw that in the West Virginia game too. And Coach Dabrowski said this in such a complimentary way. He said, "I didn't even realize when Johnny and Harry were even out there, right? Because that's just, he has that confidence in him. He didn't call the plays based on what personnel was out there. Oh, Harry's out there, so we got to go pass here or whatever." He was just like, "Oh, well, we have a running back out there. I know they're a damn good running back, so let's just go out there and do what we do best." And I think that those guys did an excellent job of that. So this is going to be a big Le'Shawn Williams game, is essentially what I'm getting at.
Well, keys to the game here in a little bit, but we'll look at the team stats. Again, they're going to be kind of inflated for Cincinnati because they just scored 70, right? So you look and it's, oh my God, this team averages 40 points a game. Well, they
Right.
only scored 17 against Nebraska, and they scored 34 on Bowling Green. After the 70-0 win, they are fourth in the conference, however, in points per game with 40.3. Cincinnati's sixth in the conference in defense. They're also middle of the pack in terms of yards per game, both offensively and defensively. They're 10th in rushing, and they're third in rushing defense. In terms of passing, Cincinnati is fourth and 10th in passing defense. So a couple noteworthy things there for Cincy. But let's go back to Sorsby, because, we're going to talk about all the factors in this one, and we could do this. We do this every game. Be like, oh, we got to get Cam Pickett going. Oh, we need a bomb over the top to Emmanuel Hayes. Okay, let's break this down to what actually needs to happen for Kansas to win in this particular game. Okay, Jalen Daniels, Brendan Sorsby. KU's got to have the better quarterback in this game.
Right.
Whoever is the better quarterback, I think is going to win this game. And like we talked about, I think that while I think Jalen Daniels is a better quarterback than Brendan Sorsby, I think that Sorsby is more dependent upon to be the entire offense for Cincinnati than Jalen Daniels is for Kansas,
Yeah.
because KU does have other elements. And not saying anything bad about Tawee Walker or Jeff Caldwell or any of those guys, but I just think if you're able to cut the head off the snake, what we talked about with Brendan Sorsby, then Kansas is going to be in a good shape. But Sorsby this season, and again, it wasn't as good after the Nebraska game where Sorsby didn't even throw for 100 yards, had more rushing yards than passing yards. But if you look holistically at his season, he's got a 70% completion rate, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's pretty good, right? Yeah, it includes 15 for 15 against Northwestern State, but the numbers are what they are. Sorsby, 22 carries, 175 yards. He's their leading rusher, 8 yards per carry, 4 rushing touchdowns. So that's the bottom line. This is a dude who has accounted for 12 touchdowns already, and he didn't even play the whole game against Northwestern State, and just 1 interception. Walker, I mentioned, he's got 24 carries, 151 yards. Caldwell is a factor, leading receiver in terms of yardage, and the leading pass catcher is Cyrus Allen. He's got 12 catches and 3 touchdowns, plus a guy that Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com talked about is the tight end Joe Royer. Tight end, 8 catches, a couple touchdowns as well. I'm not as concerned with guys like Caldwell and Royer as I am just with Brendan Sorsby.
Right.
If KU can do what they did against Bo Pribula and Nico Marchiol in terms of making sure they didn't beat them with their feet, KU's going to have a great shot in this one. Sorsby, he's a guy who has been heavily depended upon, and certainly Cincinnati, they're going to ride or die with him. If KU can use some of the guys that we talk about so often off the edge, make sure they contain him, particularly Harris and Dean Miller get a little bit of pressure up front from those veteran guys too on the interior with DJ Withers and Tommy Dunn and the rotating interior defensive linemen. Make Sorsby uncomfortable. Cincinnati's not going to win. That is the bottom line. If Sorsby does not play well, KU's going to win this game. I don't expect Cincinnati to be an elite defensive team, whether Corleone plays or not. I expect Kansas to put up points, as I will every game this season, because I have that much faith in Jalen Daniels. And hopefully the wide receivers, looking at Pickett, looking at Canty, can get a little bit more, a little bit closer to 100%, I guess, and that'll help as well. But that's where it starts for me. If you look and Brendan Sorsby doesn't have good numbers, he's turning it over, he's averaging 2 yards a carry, KU's going to win.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're absolutely right about that. And Sorsby is the main gigantic piece. He's a, like you said, he's a bigger piece of their offense than Jalen Daniels is, just in terms of,
Which is saying something because we rely on JD so much.
Absolutely. But it's like if Brendan Sorsby has a bad game, everybody else is going to have a bad game. And Sorsby, he's the kind of guy who likes to get flushed out and likes to run around the edge. He also is able to step up in the pocket and hit those holes whenever they do have that run. So that's why I think it's going to be a big game for that linebacking crew as well. You have to keep a spy on him, which Leroy Harris was able to do that, right? We've seen Kansas be able to contain running quarterbacks before. Brendan Sorsby, though, to me is in this. I don't know if this is a hot take or whatever it may be. I think he's a little overrated just because of the fact that if you look at the one game that they've been tested in, which is the Nebraska game, he had a bad game. He had less than 100 yards through the air and less than 100 yards on the ground just because he had to do it on the ground. And he was able to do it on the ground, and I thought he was a good runner, but I didn't think he had a spectacular game against Nebraska. You play against Bowling Green, not to say anything about Bowling Green or Northwestern State, but they're not Power 4 schools. Kansas is a Power 4 school with Power 4 caliber players, the same as Nebraska is. So I think that Kansas is really going to give them a run for their money, and I think we're going to see the other side of Brendan Sorsby, which is what we saw against Nebraska.
Yeah, well, I hope so. And I was just thinking about this when we were talking about trying to contain Sorsby. Does KU have a player on their team that looks more like an NFL guy than Leroy Harris? I mean, we've got a lot of guys, obviously.
Yeah.
Jalen Daniels, Dean Miller. We've got some guys, obviously, at the linebacker spot, secondary. We got
you made the case like Bowden Groom.
Bryce Foster.
Yeah,
maybe.
Bryce Foster, for sure.
Obviously, Foster's going to play at the next
Leroy
level.
Harris, though, for sure.
Leroy Harris is only a sophomore.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a guy masquerading as a college player, it seems like, because he's only a sophomore. And again, the job he did against Prbula, just from a spy standpoint, was really, really impressive. So I'll let you give some keys to the game. We're going to go up and down this game and break it down. If the special teams certainly performs like they did against West Virginia, that's going to be huge. Another game that's expected to be a close game, that's an important element, as are turnovers, always the case. Other keys to the game for KU getting a win.
Yeah, I think I have a couple, right? JD has to be a lot better, right? We saw JD through the air in the West Virginia game, not necessarily his best game. Yes, he did have 3 touchdowns, but he was also 50% completion percentage for 138 yards. That's not good enough if you want to beat the Cincinnati team and kind of keep up with the Cincinnati team. The Cincinnati program, they can put up points. And again, I understand it was against Northwestern State. It was against Bowling Green. They didn't put up a whole lot of points against Nebraska, but they're still able to put up points, right? Jeff Caldwell is a deep threat. Tui Walker still is a threat on the ground, and I think Tui Walker could potentially have a big game against Kansas. So in order to keep up with them, Jalen has got to be a lot better. I want to see that percentage go over 60% at least for Jalen Daniels. So the play calling needs to be better. They need to win the game through the air. On the defensive side of the ball, relatively simple. We've talked about it all week. Got to be able to contain Brendan Sorsby. Do not let him get that edge. Do not let him step up in the pocket and find those holes to be able to run. You have to let him beat you with his arm, which he will not be able to do. He's like Nico Marchiol. I think Nico Marchiol is a worse quarterback, but I still think that that's the way that you beat them because you have faith in your secondary. Plus, I don't have a whole lot of faith in Cincinnati's skill position players, right? John Royer and Jeff Caldwell are good. Cyrus Allen's okay, right? But I don't think they have a lot of deep threats that can beat you down the field. Brendan Sorsby, if you contain him, you win this game on the defensive side of the ball.
KU and Cincinnati, 11 o'clock tomorrow. Coverage will start on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield at 9:30. If KU wins, they'll be 4-1, 2-0 in Big 12 play. That's kind of how we drew it up in terms of 2 conference games at home to start the season. And then you got UCF and Texas Tech on the road. Neither of those teams has lost a game. So get through Cincinnati. If we can get a big win, celebrate it, and hey, roll the dice on the road. That'd be a lot of fun to talk about. After this, though, we're skipping over to the NFL side of things, talking Chiefs, Ravens, and some NFL game picks as well. Thanks for watching on KansasNation.com.
Hey, this is Cole Ballard, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com. Hey, Thursday Night Football last night, Daniel.
Yes.
Imagine you won some money as you liked the Seahawks and the under, which actually did hit.
I know.
Despite the fact that the Redbirds tried to make it interesting at the end, how much money did you win?
Kenneth Walker did not score a touchdown. So I do single bets, and then I parlay all 3 of them at the end. I bet like $1 on each.
Wow.
It's more for the love of the game than actually trying to make money. You know what I mean? So yeah. But I made a little bit of money. Look at that. I'm kind of on like a weird little hot streak right now.
Oh man, couple dollars. I love it. You can buy me a lemonade after the show.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Sunday slate NFL. First of all, we had a conversation earlier this week about fries and tots.
That's correct.
What's the better side? We've also done a top 10 in the past, top 10 appetizers, and one of my top 10 appetizers was NFL games overseas. 8:30 a.m. kickoff, a great appetizer before the full slate, and we have one of those this weekend, Daniel, as Aaron Rodgers hosts the Vikings.
Yes.
And by hosts, I mean they're going to be in Dublin. But yeah,
yes.
The Steelers are plus 2.5 in Dublin against the Vikings. Over-under is 40.5.
So Carson Wentz looked good against, granted, a Jake Browning-led Bengals team.
Yeah, but they were never on the field at the same time.
They were never on the field at the same time. I understand that. I think that we don't give Kevin O'Connell enough credit for being as good of a football coach as he is. He made Sam Darnold a $100 million man. He has made Carson Wentz look good. He's making J.J. McCarthy look good. Now, J.J. McCarthy's hurt, obviously, so that's why Carson Wentz has to be in. I think I like the Vikings here. I think that the Aaron Rodgers train is starting to come to a close. Now, granted, I know the Steelers, they have relatively, good players still. DK Metcalf, I think, is a solid option still for him. I think I just like the Vikings here. Kevin O'Connell, until he proves me wrong, I'm going to be on his side 100%. And that's not because I'm a quasi-Vikings fan. It's because I genuinely believe in him. I think Carson Wentz takes this one. I think Carson Wentz has a very good game overseas. Give me the Vikings minus 2.5.
Rodgers has been good this year. I'll take the Steelers plus 2.5.
I think the over is going to hit.
The under 40.5. How about that? We're opposite.
Well, I guess you should probably always take the under in those overseas games because of the jet lag.
You think?
So
I think they get out there in plenty of time. Surely they're fine.
I'm sure they're fine.
Giants are plus 6 at the Meadowlands hosting the Chargers. Over under 43.5. Will the Chargers take their first L?
So this is Jackson Dart, his first start. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
I like Jackson Dart, but also the Chargers are absolutely on fire right now. Khalil Mack got hurt, by the way. So for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and take the over 43.5. That's at minus 115. The public loves it. I think the Chargers win by a touchdown here. So give me the Chargers minus 6.
I'll take the Giants plus 6.
Okay.
I'm going to throw a dart at Jackson, if you will. Lions minus 10 in Motown hosting the Cleveland Football Browns. Over under is 44.5.
Okay. Give me the Browns here. The Browns look good. They have the best defense in the NFL right now. Joe Flacco. He's the real deal, man.
They just beat Green Bay.
Yes.
I'll give them that. But the Lions have looked so good the past 2 weeks. I'm laying the 10 with Detroit, man.
Give me I'm not going to touch this line. I do like the Browns. No. I'm going to touch this line. I'm going to hammer the Browns plus 10. Give me the under in this game, too, because both defenses, I think, are stout.
You know what was funny? The week, let's see, it would have been week 1. And I was having a conversation with my brother-in-law, and we were talking about parlays. And the first thing that we were talking about was, parlaying parlay the Browns cover with the Jets cover. And then we were like, whoa. NFL is
That's
back.
crazy.
The
Yeah.
first thing we're gonna do is parlay the Browns and the Jets.
Browns
Like
and the
this
Jets
is not
cover,
good.
yeah.
This is not good.
That-
Bills hosting the Saints. This is gonna be an absolute nail biter. Bills are minus 15.5. Over under is 47.5.
Sean, what is my theory for this year? It was
Fade the Saints.
Fade the Saints.
It worked out.
Last year I was fade the Panthers. This year I'm fade the Saints. Minus 115.5 is such a big line. But
Well, minus 115.5 would be a very big line, but it's minus 15.5.
What did I say?
Minus 115.5. That may be a more accurate line.
Well, yeah. So I was looking up the over under because that's at minus 115. Give me the over in this game. I like the over, and I don't know, 15.5. Yeah, I'm sticking. I'm planting my feet in the ground. I'm sticking with it. I'm fading the Saints every single week.
Spencer Rattler was actually not terrible. He's not been the worst quarterback that you've ever seen, as you would say. But Bills minus 15.5. Yeah, I'm gonna take that. It's not too often you'll lay that many points in an NFL game, but this seems like the time to do it. The Bucks at home are getting 3.5 against the Eagles, over under 44.5.
Bucks are riding a high, man, and I think after that big win against the Jets, now granted it was the Jets, right? But I think that Baker Mayfield looks good. I think I like the money line. I think the Eagles lose. Give me the Bucks at home plus 164.
I like the Bucks at home as well, but I'm gonna take the 3.5 points just to be safe. I like Baker Mayfield, man. Let Baker bake, and give me the over 44.5. Texans at home hosting the Titans. Texans are minus 7. I ask you again. There's no way they lose this game, right? And will they cover the number?
There's no way they lose this game.
All right,
but it sucks because Cam Ward is so good, and you can see the potential there.
your boy C.J. Stroud not exactly having the bounce back season that you're expecting.
God, no. But yeah, I thought. I don't think I said Jaden Daniels is going to be a top 3 in NFL MVP votes. I think I might have said the same thing to like friends off air about CJ Stroud. The Titans and the Saints to me are in the same boat. Canton Ward is a great quarterback, but his surrounding cast is awful. Awful. So give me the Texans here minus 7.
So you do know that every year there's going to be some bad teams, right?
I do.
So I'm looking forward to however many years, we're talking about lines. You always pick the worst teams in the NFL because there will be the worst teams, and just absolutely fade them is a nicer way to put
Damn
it
straight.
than I would. Give me the under 39.5. It's a low number, so you know that's tempting to take that under. Falcons at home are minus 1.5 against the Washington football team, over under 43.5.
So is Jaden Daniels?
He's questionable last I saw.
So he's listed on here as like touchdown scorer. He's questionable as of right now. Who's the Commanders' backup?
Mariota.
Is Marcus? Okay.
And they played well against the Raiders.
Man, the Falcons just lost to the Panthers.
They did.
You got to give me the Commanders here, right? I'm going with the Washington football team.
This is the one to me that screams a trap line.
You think
right?
so?
It does.
Yeah.
It's because it's the same level of thinking that you have of why are the football team not favored. But as you know, I'm not going to take the minus 1.5. I'm going to take money line there so that I win if the Falcons win by 1.
I'm gonna take football team money line.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Well, they're at plus 1.5. Do I take that?
The point.
I'll take the point.
You take the
minus
point.
108.
You take the point. I don't push the point away. I just take the money line on Falcons.
There. I'm with you.
Give me the Falcons to win this game. Patriots Panthers. Wow, what a game that is. The Pats are minus 5.5. Over under 42.5.
What? I mean, is this going to be on like what channel?
CW,
Okay, it's gonna be on the CW, right? That makes sense. It's gonna be on the E network. I have no idea. I think the Panthers looked good against the Falcons, though.
You could fade the game if you want. That is allowed.
I think I'll go ahead and give me the under.
Under 42.5.
I'll take Panthers plus 5.5. I think the Panthers did look good against the Falcons. I don't think the Panthers win, but I think it's going to be close.
Rams couldn't cover in the city of brotherly love. They're minus 3.5, hosting Indiana Jones, over under 49.5.
The Indiana Jones, it's coming to a close, right? I mean, at just some point, you got to put Harrison Ford down. Yes. I mean, it's just like stop putting him in these movies, and this is where we're at with the Indianapolis Colts. I know they're 3-0 right now. Their magical run comes to an end. I love the Rams here. Give me the Rams at -3.5.
Give me the over 49.5. It's a high number, so you know I'm going to hit that over. Niners at home hosting the Jags. San Francisco is -3, over under 46.5.
The Fighting Mac Joneses. It's in San Francisco. I am still a Trevor Lawrence believer, but I think I'm still going to go
Said
with.
no one ever.
What do you mean? I like Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, give me the 49ers here. I like the 49ers at home laying 3.5. I think that feels good to me.
I gotta avoid that game. If anything, I like the over.
I think I like the over too.
Yeah,
It's
40,
at
I don't know
-120.
why.
The public loves it.
I don't know why.
The public
but,
loves it.
I
It's
like
at
the
-120, 46.5. Give me the over too.
Raiders at home are -1.5 hosting the Bears. Over under 47.5.
Give me the Bears. I'm going to take the points.
There we go. You're
plus
getting it.
1.5.
If they offer you the point, you
I
take
do want to take that money. That money line's looking me in the face right now because
it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
So that's the thing. Is it's -120 or is it -108?
Right, but
I want the -108.
You get the point though.
I understand that, but I'm a gambling man.
Oh my God.
I like to take risks. I'm a risk taker. I'm not risk averse.
I don't trust either of these defenses. Again, I'm going to the over 47.5. Two offenses who I think can score. They've proven that, but two defenses that certainly will allow some points. Sunday Night Football, before we get to Chiefs and Ravens, the Cowboys at home in a Micah Parsons revenge game.
Yes.
Cowboys are +7. Over under is 47.5.
Micah Parsons over 1.5 sacks.
Yeah, obviously. That's
Come
the
on.
go-to.
That's the prop that you need to absolutely hammer. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. By the way, Jerry Jones came out and he said that they're not going to do any kind of touching tribute to Micah Parsons. They're not going to.
Why would they ever even consider it? I hate when teams do that.
Luka did it, or the Mavs did it for Luka.
Yeah.
So that
I
was nice, right? I mean, Micah Parsons, that was a.
I guess so,
he was
but
a big
I think
part.
the Luka situation was more of a one-off where he was so beloved by the fans and he loved the fans. This just isn't as much of a.
They kind of left on weird terms. Yeah, they left on weird terms. Micah wanted out, so all right.
Do you want the Yankees to do that for Juan Soto? Let's do a touching tribute on Juan Soto. For,
I'm with you there.
I don't
I'm
like
with you
that
there.
at all.
Yeah, give me the Packers in this game. I think the Packers go down there and whoop up on them. Give me the over in this game because the Dallas defense is bad.
One of these teams lost to the Browns, and it was the Packers.
That is true.
That's a full 7 points. I'm going to take the 7 with the home team Sunday Night Football. Dallas +7. Staying away from the over/under 47.5. I do agree, though. Micah Parsons, I like him on the 2 sacks. All right, last one. We'll go back to Arrowhead. Chiefs and Ravens. Battle of 1 and 2 teams. Chiefs are +2.5. Over/under is 48.5.
This game is so we were talking about it. This is probably the best battle between 1 and 2 teams we've ever seen in NFL history, right? It's got to be.
I mean, it depends how the season goes.
Derrick Henry,
from a talent standpoint, you would think.
Derrick Henry has 3 touchdowns not 3 touchdowns, 3 fumbles this year. 2 of them essentially lost them the game. I think Derrick Henry has a big chip on his shoulder. Right now, I'm seeing him at 90+ rushing yards at +109. I'm going to hammer that. I think Derrick Henry gets a lot of yards on this Chiefs defense. That's my prop bet here because I'm stalling because I don't want to give the line that I think is going to happen. But I like that prop here. I'm going to go. This sucks. This sucks. And I hate to do this.
I really hope you say Chiefs because everybody knows what you're about to say.
Ravens -2.5.
All right. Dan likes the Ravens to not only beat the Chiefs, but cover the -2.5. I'm taking Isaiah Pacheco anytime touchdown +205 just because Dan has been ridiculous. The Pacheco hate has come out of nowhere. He wasn't healthy all of last year. He had 10 carries for 45 yards, and you acted like he was Bo Prabula, 9 carries and 6 yards against KU. 10 carries, that's 4.5 yards a carry. I don't understand the hatred on him. But +205, he gets in just to spite Dan.
I think this comes down to another Butker missed field goal. That's why I think that the Baltimore Ravens win. I think Butker misses another one, and they cut his ass.
Perfect. I absolutely love that logic. Chiefs on the money line. I'm not taking the +2.5. Kansas City wins this game. Xavier Worthy will be back. He's going to be a game breaker. And then we're just a couple weeks away from Rashee Rice as well. There's your Ravens fan. Here's your Chiefs fan. That's our NFL game picks for this week. After this, Brian Hanni, the voice of the Jayhawks, to talk KU Cincinnati on KansasNation.com.
This is Dale Highshaw, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
John Kellerman and Dan Courtwright back live in the Kansas Nation studios. Big game tomorrow, KU Cincinnati, 11 o'clock. Coverage will start on the Jayhawk Radio Network, 9:30 with the Crimson and Blue Show, Brandon McAnderson and David Lawrence. And as always, we're joined by Brian Hanni right now, the voice of the Jayhawks. BH, I like the quarter zip, very slick, guaranteed rate bowl.
Nice.
A couple years ago.
The ring to
that
match
little ring.
the,
there you go.
quarter zip.
Absolutely. It's now the Rate Bowl, as we know.
Yes.
As our friends from out west played in the Rate Bowl last year. But that was a really cool experience a couple years ago. KU over UNLV, which we're going to say is the last time we played UNLV. Anyway, Brian, obviously a big one coming up less than 24 hours from now when the Bearcats come to town. It'll be a tough test for KU. A word perhaps on last week's win, a dominant performance, a little bit surreal being up there, not only in the new booth, but just the realization that this is where the program is, right? Because the best way to put it is before Coach Leipold got here, that was Kansas. West Virginia was what Kansas was in that particular game, I guess, for so long before Coach and his administration got here. And it just was a special day and a great start to Big 12 play.
Yeah, no doubt. Best margin of victory in a Big 12 conference home opener in school history. Lowest opponent output in a conference game since 2007.
Wow.
And later today in this studio, we're going to have a member of that 2007 team in here, although he had nothing to do with that defensive stand in 2007. But Todd Reesing will be with us later today, which is pretty cool. But there were so many superlatives. And isn't it great to walk out of there puffing your chest out about defense and special teams? Offense was good, too. Don't get me wrong. LeShawn Williams' breakout game, nearly 170 total yards, 2 touchdowns, so many explosive plays. But defense and special teams, I thought, won the day because there was some second quarter stretches where the offense wasn't quite as crisp. Jalen would be the first to tell you it wasn't his sharpest game, but there were other ways in which he impacted the game, certainly with his feet, big 28-yard run. I thought the way he sold the play fake on their trickeration play that led to the 39-yard Williams touchdown was masterful. But let's be clear, defense and special teams absolutely stole the day and the show, that is. You talk about kick return of 94 yards for a touchdown from Emmanuel Henderson, your Big 12 special teamer of the week. You talk about a place kicker in Laith Marjan that I think we would all agree when you send him out there, you feel like it's going through the posts every time. And with all due respect to our previous kickers of the last 10 years,
been a while.
When's the last time you felt that way every single time? It's kind of like when we have hoops conversations and you make the comment, every time it leaves his hand, you think it's going in.
Yeah.
We haven't had a kicker like that where every time it left his foot, you thought it was splitting the posts in a while. Now, I probably just jinxed him. But the point is, you've got that confidence. Yes.
Knock on wood.
You've got that confidence. Lance Leipold has that confidence. He's got range we've yet to tap into. Maybe tomorrow's the day. We'll see. Punting game, Finn Lappin, excellent. Punt return game, Tate Nagy, love it. Every aspect of special teams right now is clicking. And when David Lawrence is pulling names out of the bag like Bucky Scribner and Bruce Pallmeyer, going back to the early 80s, last time we had a punter-kicker combination, I was barely alive. He was like -20. Sean was like -15, -10. That's how long it's been since we've had specialists this special. And to succinctly wrap it up on defense, Dean Miller's best game, Blake Harreld's best game. Trey Lathan continues to look like a first-team All-Big 12 linebacker. How about him against his former team?
Right.
He gets an interception and a sack. How cool was that? And then also, when's the last time you watched Kansas football and the physicality they were bringing on some of these tackles was just jump out of your chair. Holy smokes, back that up. Let's see that again type hitting. And one hit was maybe a little too severe, and we'll miss a guy for a half of the next game. But Lyric Rawls, all of his were well within bounds and well within the rule book. And, man, they brought the lumber and the thunder. So I'll tell you what, I was so excited with all three phases, particularly defense and special teams and the run game. And we sat here last week in this beautiful new studio and said, man, we got to establish the run. We got to establish the run. LeShawn Williams' breakout performance. Don't act like you're surprised. All Big Ten running back. We knew he had it in him. We just didn't know when the day would come that he would be a workhorse bell cow type back, and opportunity knocked, and Leishon certainly answered.
Yeah, he really did. And, defensively, Kansas was dominant against Nico Marchiol, and West Virginia was down a few guys, but no need to apologize. Everybody's going through something, and special teams was dominant. You look at the total stats from a yard standpoint, not that different, right? Because KU was having short field after short field and making the big plays, and that was a plus as well. But it was great, to your point, regarding Leishon offensively. JD didn't play his best game, but still accounted for 3 touchdowns and used his legs to extend drives many times. But what was nice is the fact that Bryce Foster called it the softening process, where Kansas was struggling a little bit the first couple quarters, even against West Virginia with the run game. And you're like, oh man, this is what happened in Columbia. And then they just kept after it. They started winning the line of scrimmage, and Leishon was finally able to shake loose, which was just huge for JD in the offense.
Man, absolutely huge. And for this entire offense, when you look back to their previous game 2 weeks before that, you're talking about Daniel Highshaw, 6 carries, 11 yards. Leishon Williams, 3 carries, -5 yards. That run game needed the floodgates to open up. It takes pressure off of everybody. You can run to set up the pass. You feel like you can control the ball longer, sustain longer drives, put teams away. And so to see some success on the ground, and I thought Harry Stewart showed some flashes too, and we may need to see Stewart and Thompson this week too if the latest injury reports hold true with Highshaw being doubtful. So we'll see. But I thought all those were positives. And like I said, don't act surprised with Leishon, because he was not brought in here to be somebody's backup. We said since August, this is a 1A, 1B backfield, whether it's a 60-40 split or a 55-45, or maybe it's ride the hot hand or ride the healthy guy, which is really what it's proven to be. Leishon missed the Wagner game, wasn't fully himself in Columbia. Highshaw was healthy early in the year, hasn't been healthy of late. So in a perfect world, you got 2 workhorses, 2 bell cows, you split it up. But we all know in college football or football at any level, it's rarely perfect in terms of availability and health. And so right now, he's the healthy hand, the hot hand, and we should not be the least bit surprised, because he was doing this at Iowa. And I think he's got, the chance to be a play on Sundays type guy with an opportunity somewhere, whether it's as a draft pick or a training camp invitee, free agent sign, whatever. I think he's got that kind of potential.
Brian Hanni, voice of the Jayhawks, joins us here in studio. And Brian, wanted to talk about the Cincinnati team. Obviously, Brendan Sorsby is a dual threat guy, can do it on his legs. But Kansas, they did a great job of holding Nico Marchiol and Bo Pribula to minimal rushing yards. Just talk about that defensive end group with Leroy Harris playing the spy against Pribula and Marchiol, and obviously Dean Miller coming off one of the best games of his career as a Jayhawk. What do you think that they need to do in order to keep Brendan Sorsby from breaking out?
Well, great observations there, certainly. And aren't we relieved to see Dean Miller look like Dean Miller last week? Because I think that when Leroy Harris was coming on in August,
it looks like a little internal competition, doesn't it?
A little bit. And like if you were there, which fans weren't in practice, like you saw a clear breakout coming from one player, and you wondered, okay, how's the second team all Big 12 are going to handle this iron sharpen iron? They push each other, and obviously Dean, wasn't at full strength or his normal self, whatever, out the gate. But boy, did that look like the Dean Miller we know and love last week. And that allows you to do so much more. And obviously, Justice Finkley's a guy that I think we've seen just the tip of the iceberg on what he's capable of, and there's a lot more coming from him too. So I think our ends are game changers within this matchup, particularly with the keys you talked about with Sorsby, a guy that Lance Leipold told me yesterday in taping our pregame, this might be the best dual threat quarterback we face in Big 12 conference play, and 2 of the best Big 12 quarterbacks, no matter how you slice them or dice them, going toe to toe tomorrow. Now, does that mean it's a shootout? Does that mean it's like upper 30s, low 40s, back and forth? DK McDonald doesn't think so. And neither does the Cincinnati staff. And neither, quite frankly, does Lance Leipold. I think that there's a lot of respect on both sides for the defensive fronts. You mentioned ours. Lance, to me, was maybe not the second unit he mentioned off his lips was their defensive line, and that they have a front 4 as imposing as ours can be, and there's as much respect there. So I'm excited. But you look at Cincinnati, and they've played some good competition, certainly Nebraska, Bowling Green. They're the only offensive line in America that's yet to allow a sack. Can we be disruptive and get to Sorsby, not just in containing what he can do with his feet, But when he drops back to pass, can we get in there and knock him around a little bit and make it a tough day for him? That remains to be seen. But I'll tell you this much: I'm more excited showing up every Saturday about our ability to rush the passer and be disruptive than I can remember being, going back to like the Charlton Keith days or whatever. Yeah. So point is like that's a real advantage for us at times. We'll see if it is this particular week, because clearly, as I said, their offensive line does not typically give up a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and Sorsby, it all starts with him. We've talked about that throughout the week, how, hey, he can beat you with his arm, he can beat you with his legs. But tell us about some of the other guys. Obviously, we're familiar with the name Jeff Caldwell. He was Lindenwood's best receiver last year when KU faced them. They got a good tight end who's got a couple touchdowns, and certainly Tawee Walker we saw a few years ago when he was at Oklahoma. We don't really know how to read into some of these stats in terms of individuals. For some of these guys, they just won the last game 70-0. But some names we're familiar with. Who else do we need to look out for?
Well, it's funny, everything I said about, don't be surprised about Le'Shawn, because he was honorable mention all Big Ten. Well, same is true with Walker. And, if you forgot about him from his 2 seasons at Oklahoma, had a great year last year at Wisconsin, had 9 touchdowns in Big Ten play alone. He really broke out in the month of October last year. So he's a force. Pryor is an Ohio State transfer.
Yeah.
So when your 2 running backs are Oklahoma and Ohio State transfers, you're pulling from good places. You talked about the passing game, and that their tight end Royer is a guy that Todd McShay on his like early 2026 draft list had as a projected first-round pick. That got my attention. Had 50 receptions a year ago, 3 touchdowns, but has the type of measurables at 6'5", 250 that NFL scouts are going to love. And then Cyrus Allen's a guy that blew it up at La Tech with huge numbers in 2023. Transferred to A&M, and the numbers didn't translate as much, but I think his speed and his ball skills do. So this is a guy that, 2 years ago had almost 1,300 receiving yards. He'll wear number 4. That's a name to look for, in addition to the FCS All-American that you talked about. And when I was doing my prep early in the week, I'm like, hey, I know Jeff Caldwell.
Yeah, right.
I just prepared for him last year.
Right.
Hey, good for you, Jeff Caldwell.
Yeah.
Moving up in the world.
Exactly.
From Lindenwood to Cincinnati, I'm guessing those checks cash a little bit bigger.
Right.
And so we're happy for him, and we'll see if Kansas secondary can handle a pretty good unit. How about the passing day of Sorsby last week?
15 of 15.
15 of 15. 5 touchdowns all in the first quarter.
Insane.
He added a rushing touchdown later.
I don't. How often does a team get 5 possessions in the first quarter?
I know.
Alone.
Well, I'll tell you what, West Virginia did last week, because they
my God,
they were punting for the 6th time.
Yeah, they're go
with 10 minutes on the clock in the second quarter. So they had 6 punts at that point, and I thought, I don't know if I've seen that before.
Yeah. But that's what we talked about last week, right? Wasn't that so funny? Because it was like the tempo offense is fun and it's great, and it's not fun and not great when you can't get any first.
You go 3 and out in like 2 minutes.
There's 14 to go in the first quarter.
That's
punting.
The thing, and I don't mean this disparagingly at all, because they were down several guys, as you mentioned. But typically, to play fast, you have to play effective, and you have to move the chains to sustain drives. Otherwise, you're off the field in 45 seconds, and your defense is right back on there, and it's counterproductive. And so, be interesting to see as West Virginia's season goes on, if they continue to play that style, they get a little healthier and a little more formidable, or is this going to be one of the bottom 3 teams in the conference? And that may be the case. If you look at it, guys, I kind of like how our schedule ramps up in terms of degree of difficulty. You start off with an opponent you should beat, and we did handily. You take on an opponent this week that I think on any given day could give anybody fits, and it's consequently, in the eyes of the prognosticators, a much tighter contest. Then, bounce house action in Orlando on a Saturday night. That's going to be really tough at UCF, but it prepares you for what is maybe your toughest road game of the year in Lubbock the next
Brian
week.
Hanni revenge game. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, absolutely. Brian Hanni, voice of the Jayhawks, former voice of the Red Raiders, joins the show here in studio. And Brian, I want to talk about JD, right? Because JD had 3 touchdowns, but honestly, not his best game through the air. He did a great job on his legs. What do you want to see out of JD against this defense in particular, because they run that 3-3-5 with the rover? That's kind of a quasi from Iowa State a few years ago. They kind of perfected that. But just what do you want to see out of JD, and how do you think he can kind of take advantage of this defense?
I haven't spoken to JD this week, because we don't always get every guy every week, and so I've not asked him, nor would I ask him. Hey, 12 for 24, not that big of a deal. This is still a guy that on the season, where's he at on completion percentage right now? I mean, he's still completing 2/3 of his passes. But somebody told me, a couple people did, it looked like he was a little bit amped last week, and therefore some of the location on the passes was a little erratic, and he wasn't as efficient as he would normally be. And yet, as I said, found ways to change the game and impact the game with his feet. The play fake to set up his easiest throw of the night because he sold it so well on the 39-yard catch and run to Leishon, again, was masterful by Daniels. And so on a quote unquote off day, he was still really good. And this is still a guy who I think is third now in the nation in passing touchdowns with 12 through 4 games. So, when his off day still has that much fireworks, and no, he didn't have a ton of passing yards, like 138 through the air, 3 TDs. But, it's a guy that, to your point about this week, I would love to see him establish rhythm early. I don't know that he's the type of guy that you have to scheme stuff for high percentage throws to get him in a groove early. I don't think we're at that point or anything. I think he just had a minor day where, it's like they say in baseball where, you get 30 starts in a year and 15 of them you've got your A-level stuff, and 7 or 8 you don't. 7 or 8 you're elite, but it's those. I'm sorry, I completely butchered that analogy. 15 of them, you're kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And then 7 or 8, you got elite level stuff. 7 or 8, you don't.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have to pitch through it and pitch instead of throw. And you get creative a little bit. Last week, he didn't have his best fastball necessarily. I think he comes back this week and he's sharp. But I do think, and we don't know about Corleone's status yet for Cincinnati, but I do think with Golday and some of the other guys they'll bring, this is a really good defense he's up against, as you alluded to. And so I'd love to see some high efficiency early, some on-point passing early that establishes rhythm. And if he was overly amped or whatever, that he's amped because we're in the end zone with 7 on the board already. And we're off to the races at that point. I got no worries about JD whatsoever. And like I said, it's nice to win by 31 and feel like your quarterback had a B+ game.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, with everything we know about Cincinnati as of right now, give me one key on the defense and one key on the offensive side of the ball that Kansas needs to do to come out of this one victorious.
Ooh, good question. Well, you talked about having a spy on Sorsby and what he can do, beating you both through the air and on the ground. I'll be curious to see their combination of running backs. We've been pretty good, other than late in the Missouri game when the dam kind of broke and they rattled up some big yardage against us. But the combination of Pryor and Walker is one that clearly has my attention. Offensively for us, obviously you want to see Leishon's ascent continue. You want to see Kansas, as we talked about with Jalen Daniels, be a little more efficient in the passing game. I think we've got a chance if JD has time back there with some speed on the edge for some more explosive plays. You could call Levi Wentz's explosive last week, but there wasn't a West Virginia Mountaineer within 20 yards of him. But E-Man over the top. I'd love to see Pickett get more involved again. I think this is a game where we talk so much about their first-round draft pick at tight end and Joe Royer, but I think after a quiet game 4 out of Deshaun Hanukkah, maybe you hear some noise out of Deshaun this week and the Kansas tight ends too. He's one of those types of guys that he studies those mock drafts. He knows who the conversation is around the best tight ends in America, who was first team all Big 12 last year when I was sitting out with my injury. I think he'll take some pride in posting some numbers on Saturday too. So for all those things, I'd love to see some downfield passing, some explosive plays with our speed on the edge, but I'd also love to see us find a way to frustrate a quarterback that has had ample time to throw at times this year and has had his way the last 2 weeks. I'd love to make it tough on Sorsby with our athleticism and what we bring, not just around the edge, but throughout our defense.
KU Cincinnati tomorrow at 11 a.m. Coverage will start again on the Jayhawk Radio Network at 9:30. Brian, men's basketball schedule came out earlier this week. At least the dates did for Big 12. We knew who we were playing, how often we were playing, and where we were playing. Any particular stretches or anything jump out to you regarding that? Because that's going to be here soon with late night, October 17th.
Yeah, going to be here in a hurry. Obviously, everybody was excited to see when the BYU matchup was, to see not just the 2 best freshmen in America, but maybe pick number 1 and number 2 in the draft going toe-to-toe. So that stood out. Looking forward to the Arizona road trip at the end of the schedule. That'll be fun to go to new places. And I've actually done a game in both places earlier in my career. I did a tech game in Arizona when Blake Griffin played there.
Oh,
great environment. That was back in the Lute Olson era. That's going to be awesome. So I'm excited to go back there. And then I did a game both for KU and Tech at Arizona State. Craziest thing I ever saw in a basketball game was a 72-year-old man ejected for using a red laser pointer in the eyes of a Texas Tech free throw shooter. It was an Arizona State fan.
Oh my God.
And to watch these cops haul this gray-haired old man up the stands and out of there because he was messing with our guy's eye line. Point is, I've been to both places. I think particularly Arizona, great atmosphere. Arizona State is going to be fun, but and then we got to go to Lubbock, right?
Yeah.
That has been a place that has been a nightmare a couple of times in the last 7 or 8 years going down there. I'd love to see Kansas go back to getting their swagger back in that series because for years Tech had 2 or 3 wins in 30 years versus Kansas, and the tides turned a little bit. So I had that one circled when I saw that might be a road trip for KU too. But speaking of basketball, every time I've come to the studio the last 6 weeks to see you guys, something new is going up around here. Something has been added, whether it's memorabilia or flat screen TVs. Everything has been incrementally better every time I've come, except today.
I know.
I show up and
there's a certain person on camera that you need to ask about that.
I know the basketball goal, the rim that was, secured, fastened, maybe somewhat loosely to the wall as you walk in is gone.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that the best athlete on camera right now amongst the 3 of us is the guy who played collegiate athletics, Daniel Courtwright. Having said that, you could build a small house with some of the bricks he's been chucking up in here.
Yes.
And apparently his last brick was the last one in the history of that basketball goal. You brought the whole rim down?
It did. Yeah. It was fastened into the drywall. So it was more for aesthetics than anything. But yeah,
right.
Yes, it was a brick. It hit off the front iron and it came down. So I'm going to fix it eventually. All right. I will take it upon myself to fix it. So we'll have a basketball hoop in here relatively.
Well, we've got one. It's on
on the ground. It'll be up. It'll be up shortly.
Yeah.
You now have something in common with Alonzo Jameson. You both torn a rim down, but in very different fashion.
No, very different
fashion. No broken glass.
Mine is just because I'm horrible at basketball. Yes.
No broken glass, just drywall all over the floor here. Brian, tell us about Nate Miller and honestly, Hanni and the Hawks. A lot of exciting stuff coming up for your weekly show here on Kansas Nation.
Well, first off, my man Nate Miller sponsors these weekly chats with you guys. He got to come to the open house you had in the new studio last week and interview Tyshawn Taylor, and he's using that on his podcast. But his day job is financial investments, and he can do for you what he's done for so many, whether you're starting your portfolio from scratch or you've already got a lot of investments. Perhaps you're selling a business and you want to know where to redistribute that money. Nate Miller's the guy for you. Check him out at millerretirementgroup.com. He's right around the corner on New Hampshire Street here. Awesome dude, super involved in the community. Hanni and the Hawks, we're getting set to tape our 3rd episode with T.O. Double Trouble here in just a bit. Todd Reesing.
He's got all the great nicknames.
What's that?
Yeah, he's got all the great nicknames.
He does.
I started Touchdown Todd, but that's just a ripoff of Brady. But yeah, the Texas Gunslinger.
Hey, they're all good. I'll hit him with Touchdown Todd today to see what he thinks. But he's a fascinating guy for so many reasons. We all know about his career, rewriting the Kansas passing record books. But this guy just went around the world in a year, literally like a sabbatical across the world. And so there's some interesting post-football stories I think we'll get into. I want to ask him about the relationship dynamic between him and Kerry Meyer when he first beat out Kerry, and Kerry humbly accepted a different role and then goes on to be one of the most prolific pass catchers in KU history. Yeah. To me, that's one of the all-time great stories in KU football in terms of teammates. When a curveball is thrown at one guy, how he gets up, dusts himself off, and ends up knocking it out of the park in a completely different way. Because Kerry was a 4-star quarterback. Yeah. And Todd didn't have hardly any stars next to his name, but he ends up being the most prolific passer in KU history. So that one we're taping today. On Sunday or Monday, you're going to hear from Chip Hillary. You guys are too young to remember Chip. Again, you were like negative 15, Daniel. But you weren't bricking shots until like 20 more years after his playing career. But Chip Hillary was Heisman Hillary. He didn't win it, but that was his nickname because, man, he had KU football fans on their feet back in the early 90s when we went to the Aloha Bowl in 92. He was first team All Big 8. So that kind of dates it a little bit. Right. Your dad could tell you about Big 6.
Oh, I'm sure.
But Big 8 was his distinction. And he's a fascinating guy, too, who's been on the K Club board and done a lot with his alma mater. So that'll be a fun conversation. And how that ties into today, and I'll wrap it up succinctly, in that particular year of 92-93, football won the Aloha Bowl, basketball went to a Final Four, and baseball went to the College World Series. Could we be seeing the reincarnation of 92-93 here in 25-26? I think there's a decent chance we are.
Man.
So that's something we'll talk about, and there may be a cameo from Greg Gurley with some whiskey in his hand.
I was about to say the only difference between that basketball team is that this team doesn't have a Greg Gurley. That's really that's gonna be tough.
We're just gonna have to settle for Darren Peterson, I
Dang
suppose.
It.
Yeah, no, right? Oh man. Well, hey, back to football. KU in Cincinnati, of course, tomorrow at 11. And yeah, be on the lookout for Hanni and the Hawks with the Texas gunslinger Todd Reesing joining Brian Hanni. 90 career touchdown passes for Todd Reesing, far and away the most in KU football history. Brian, thanks again for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you.
Of course, yeah. After this, sports stock market here, KansasNation.com.
Hey, this is Cole Ballard, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Welcome back to KansasNation.com. Going to have our sports stock market segment that we do every Friday here on the show. And a little bit later, we're going to hear from KU volleyball coach Matt Ulmer. KU gets number 8 ASU tonight at Horse Family Volleyball Arena, and then they get U of A on Sunday. Exciting weekend for KU. Unfortunately, the soccer team did not pick up a victory last night. They get another chance when they take on number 10 TCU later this weekend, but lost 3-0 to Baylor last night. Kind of a strange performance. KU's been so good at not giving up any goals, and then also couldn't get anything going offensively.
Well, that's the thing is like KU had so many different shots on goal, but just Baylor's defense was so good. I actually went to the game yesterday, and Baylor's goaltender was fantastic. Lexi Watts had a few shots that just were a little off. Let's see, Livy Moore, she had one that just hit barely off the crossbar. I mean, it was so just none of those shots were going in. And meanwhile, Baylor, they had like 6 shots and 3 of them were goals, all because of the fact that just got a little bit behind Sophie Daw. Sophie Daw came about 15 feet out of the box, tried to hop on the ball, and then just bounced on over. So it was a tough game for sure. Obviously, I think they're going to be able to bounce back. But Baylor's a tough opponent, and they got a Big 12 championship rematch coming up this weekend against TCU. So that's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, absolutely. KU, that's their first loss against 7-1 and 2. KU did outshoot the Bears 19-11 and a 5-2 advantage in corner kicks. So I don't know, a little bit of a one-off situation to lose that game 3-0. But yeah, 12 o'clock. It's a noon kickoff, they say in soccer, against number 10 TCU on Sunday. So that'll be out at Rock Chalk Park. You can watch that on ESPN Plus. Keep you up to date, of course, on all things going on as that rolls on. But let's get into our sports stock market.
Ding, 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 ding.
Big game in the SEC, couple big games
right.
across college football this week. Again, you're going to give your game picks a little bit later, but tell us about Ole Miss LSU.
Yes, so stock is down on Lane Kiffin because Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin led Ole Miss team playing against LSU, came out over this past week. Landry Kiffin, Lane Kiffin's daughter, is apparently, she hard launched, as the kids are saying, on social media, her relationship with LSU star linebacker Whit Weeks. Man, is this something? So how would you feel about, like, let's say that Lance Leipold I don't think Lance has a daughter. I think he only has Landon.
No, he has a daughter.
Oh, he does have a daughter. Oh, okay. So just for the sake of it, let's say that, Lance Leipold's daughter was dating
Cincinnati's linebacker
Avery Johnson or somebody like that. Like, how would that make you feel as a fan?
I don't think it would affect anything for me as a fan.
I would just think that he's trying to get into my head.
I think it's funny that she announced this the week of the game.
That is great.
I could see how Lane's her dad. He knows about the relationship, right?
Of
I
course,
can see how it's just kind of like a funny father-daughter thing. Like she's gonna announce this. At least that's what I think. But yeah, the timing of it is hilarious, and maybe it is just a funny stab for her to be like, I'm going to announce that the week of the game.
Right. Do you think Whit Weeks was like, no, don't. Yeah, we're dating, Landry, but let's wait to let the people know until this week. Let's just like that. That is obvious. That is so funny. And Lane Kiffin, I think, he's the kind of guy who doesn't let that stuff get to him. I think Lane Kiffin's got his head screwed on right, and he's a funny guy. He's got a sense of humor about this kind of stuff too. So, but still, Whit Weeks, man, respect. That is insane to be dating Lane Kiffin's daughter and having her hard launch the relationship the week that you guys are playing. How do you think Whit Weeks, do you think after the game, regardless of what happens, do you think they come up and then say hi to each other?
Of course, right? Future son-in-law.
Yeah, like, hey, I'll see you at dinner tomorrow.
That'll be a good game. That'll be a good game. Ole Miss, essentially, it's a coin flip there as they host LSU. So we'll give a game pick on that later.
How do you, like, if LSU wins that game, beats Ole Miss, Whit Weeks has an insane game, all of a sudden they're at family dinner on Sunday. I mean, what's the vibe like? Is Lane just like staring at him, cutting his steak?
I'm giving lame answers, but I think it's you leave it on the field. You leave it on the field.
That's a lame answer.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with
beef.
it. Sorry, no beef. No beef for me.
I think it's great.
How about Zion? Speaking of beef.
That's right. Yes, Zion. So stock's up on Ozempic. My goodness, have you seen this man?
Does he look that different? I have seen him. I mean, what are they saying? What are they saying he's lost?
So I don't know how much exactly. So that's the wrong picture. So this picture, look at this picture right here. That is a different man. The picture we're going to put it up on the stream. That is a different man. Zion Williamson.
That's 60 pounds. He's lost some muscle.
He said this is the first time that he's felt confident going into a basketball gym.
I hope he can
since
stay
his
healthy.
Since his freshman year of college.
I hope he can stay healthy, man. Dude, I'm telling you, Luka lost what? Luka probably lost 30 pounds too, just after getting traded.
It's unbelievable.
Zion, though, yeah. I mean, he's kind of always been the bigger-bodied, athletic guy, but yeah, he's
So I
any numbers come out on this?
I had a theory. I don't know how much weight he lost. I had a theory though. So obviously I joke when I say stock's up on Ozempic. I don't think he's on Ozempic. I think he probably just lost the weight and fixed his diet or whatever. And stopped hanging around with strippers and all that stuff. Zion, I had this theory early, and it was when he got drafted. The man weighed about 270, 265, 270, but his explosion was incredible. And they had said this about Derrick Rose. They had said a man who is that explosive, even as a little man, his knees are going to be giving out.
The dude exploded out of his shoe in Duke UNC.
Exactly. Well, they said that about Derrick Rose. They said, look, his knees and his ligaments are not going to be able to keep up with this, with how explosive he is. Zion Williamson was just as explosive, but weighed like 100 pounds more than Derrick Rose. So I had said, I said, I don't wish this upon anybody, but in my medical experience, which is none, I think that he's going to be dealing with injuries throughout his entire NBA career because his body's not going to be keeping up with this. He's going to be 25, 26 years old. He's going to be trying to do the same stuff that he did when he was 16, 17 years old, and he's not going to be able to do it. And that has really been the case as of right now. Now that he's lost all this weight, I think that he could potentially change his game. And we see players change their games substantially, right? LeBron James isn't the explosive athlete that he once was back in like 2007, right? LeBron, he's a little bit slower, but he's sort of formed his game around the way that he plays now. So I think we're going to see Zion be able to do that too. But good for Zion Williamson. He looks different. By the way, what do you think about, should I go goatee? And the more that I look at Zion Williamson, I'm thinking like maybe I should just go goatee. Anything other than the mustache. I'm kind of letting my.
No, I know. Yeah, you're making a good decision.
I'm going to shave it over this weekend.
Making a good decision. Hey, I'm upset that we don't have a visual for this, and this is me. I forgot to send it to our wonderful production team here with Easton John and Elijah Schmidt, the law firm. But stock's up on fried rice. Did you see this? You know how you're watching a baseball game? Easton probably knows where I'm going here.
Where's this possibly going?
You're watching a baseball game, and they've got the pitcher and they've got the catcher, and they'll put it on the screen.
As baseball usually does, yes.
Right, yes. And, yes. So, for the first time since Max Fried was signed by the Yankees, his battery mate was Ben Rice. So, for the first time, you had fried rice on the screen.
This is I love this.
There's like Lorenzo Cain and Ivan Nova. Nova was pitching to Cain, and they had that. I mean, I do love when they get the little double.
Or like the poop game, where like
the Phillies and Pirates
and the Phillies at P and then 0-0 P poop game.
C-3PO, Reds and Phillies.
Yes, C-3PO is always great. No, I love that
just happened this past week.
That is my favorite. So fried rice, man.
Yes,
that's so much fun. I love that. That's my favorite. Like those weird score bug things where you're just like, oh, look, fried rice.
Yep,
That's fun. No
stocks
game.
up on fried rice.
Oh, that's so good.
All right, well,
So
we've got some other baseball things I want to get to. Stocks up on competition. So the whole Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh thing. This has gone nuts. So Cal Raleigh, the 4th American League player to ever hit 60 homers. He's got 60. He hit 59 and 60 in the same game. And the same day, Aaron Judge also hit 2 homers. So I got a lot of Raleigh and Judge things. It's friendly competition right now. Raleigh is actually favored to win the MVP at -200.
Wow.
Judge is +150. I said Raleigh is the 4th AL player to ever do it. He's also the 7th player in MLB history to ever hit 60 homers. His average is under 250. He's better than Judge in homers and RBIs. Judge is on pace to win the AL batting title. And Judge leads in pretty much every other category. So Raleigh's got more homers. He's a switch hitter. Plus, he's a catcher. He's a full-time catcher. He's got 60 homers.
It's insane.
He is right now the favorite to win the MVP. The Mariners should make the playoffs. The Yankees will be in the playoffs. Do you have a strong opinion on who this should go to? The only thing I'm vehemently against is one question that I saw yesterday on MLB Network. Somebody sent in a tweet that said, can we just come together and give them both the MVP?
Oh, that.
I literally thought, like, are you kidding me right now?
You know what? I'm going to vote for Bobby Witt Jr.
I saw some guy had in top 10 MVP, Bobby Witt Jr. and Maikel Garcia were both on there.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw there was
Keith Law, I think.
Something came out that Bobby Witt Jr. is like the 3rd most valuable player on their respect, or I guess I'm probably saying this wrong. In terms of value to your team, Bobby Witt is like the 3rd in the
Which
MLB.
is impressive because we've got Pasquantino,
yeah,
who's got 32 homers and 100+ RBIs. Also, Salvi hit a 3-run double last night, so the Royals do officially now finally have 30+ homer, 100+ RBI from 2 separate players in the same season. That hadn't happened.
Yeah.
So good for Salvi on that front. And obviously, Maikel Garcia's had a great year, so I'm surprised that he's that.
Yeah.
But that just shows how good he is.
Maikel's batting like 200 in the month of September, though, isn't he? I mean, Maikel's kind of fallen off a little bit.
I don't believe that's accurate, but I'll look, I'll look at it. He's still up right around 290 for the year, so I'd be surprised.
I was listening to the pregame show yesterday on the radio, and that's what I thought that they were saying, but I could potentially be wrong about that. I want Cal Raleigh to win just because of the fact that I do not like Aaron Judge whatsoever.
Why don't you like Judge?
I don't like him.
Oh, it's because people hate greatness.
No,
that's what it is. No, that's what it is.
No,
Judge is a great guy.
No, I like the gap in his teeth.
He got him fixed. His teeth looks great. Yeah, you got to read up on Aaron Judge. But no, man, I'm a big Judge guy. I get it. It's because people hate greatness. People hate the Yankees.
No, I want something different, and I like the nickname Big Dumper. That's
Big
why.
Dumper is a great nickname.
Big Dumper is the best nickname in sports right now.
A couple other baseball things I want to get to. Stocks up on mediocrity. So the Royals are 80 and 79, which don't look now. We got 3 games left. Can we find a way to get to 81? I hope not.
You know
I
they
hope
can
not.
find
But
a way.
man, I hope not. But the Royals head to the state capitol to take on the Sacramento Athletics for their final season. So that's exciting for them. But the wild card, obviously, the Royals are out of. The Astros are a game back of the Tigers for the 3rd wild card spot in the American League. Tigers are 86 and 73. More on that here in a second. But the NL side of things, the Mets hold the final wild card right now at 82 and 77. Teams still fighting for the wild card. 1 game back are the Reds. They're 81 and 78, and 2 games back are the Diamondbacks. They have the same record as the Royals, 80 and 79.
So the NL is
we have a bunch of mids in the NL fighting for a playoff spot. Do the Royals need to move to the NL? No, we're not getting into that. But some mediocrity taking the reins as top dog in the National League. Also, I mean, what is going on with the Detroit Tigers? They did win. I got a few numbers that I got to get to regarding this. We've talked about it throughout. They did win yesterday against Cleveland.
Sure.
So they're tied with Cleveland now, 86 and 73. Tigers have to go to Boston to close out their season series. Who does Cleveland have? The final 3 games? We'll look that up real quick. But Detroit, at one point, and you're a betting man, so you'll appreciate this. The Tigers at one point, Dan, were
Rangers
on FanDuel minus 100,000 to win the AL Central. Minus 100,000 to win the AL Central. On September 4th, the Guardians were 11 games back. On September 4th, they were 11 games back. I hate the Guardians name. And also,
Spiders.
On September 12th, the Guardians were plus 10,000 to win the AL Central. They, right now, are technically leading because they have the tiebreaker. The Tigers, both 86 and 73, and the Rangers are who Cleveland gets, like you said earlier, the remaining 3 games this weekend. But they're at Cleveland. Rangers are at Cleveland, and Detroit is at Boston. So it's not just a fall off. It's an avalanche.
What
a
historic choke. Ask me if I feel bad. Ask me.
You don't.
No, I don't. I don't feel bad at all. I do not feel bad for the Detroit Tigers whatsoever. They have put this on themselves. You got to close out. You got to close out the year,
I don't know what happened, man. And they've been bad for 2 months.
That's bad.
Been bad.
Hey, stocks up on Pride. I actually like this move. So Jim Traber, a reporter, apparently we all know Mike Gundy got fired.
Yes.
The biggest news coming out of the Big 12 probably this week. Jim Traber says, this is from Caden McFarland, who's a reporter in Stillwater. Jim Traber says that they gave Mike Gundy the opportunity to announce his retirement and coach the rest of the season. Mike Gundy declined.
I love it.
I love this move.
You puff your chest out.
Yeah. Say no.
Like, so what do they want to do? They want to do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Say no. You fine. You don't want me anymore. Fire me.
Fire me. Go ahead. I'm not going out like let's see who's a good example of this. There's a couple of good examples I probably can't say on here on air, but like we've seen that a lot where it's like, okay, you've been here forever. We need you out of here, but we'll let you go out with your head held high. We're gonna say hey, you are going to retire. We're going to fire you, but we'll let you say I'm retiring.
Or the mutually agree
we'll let
to
you
part ways.
Yeah, mutually agree. We'll let you sail off into the sunset. Bill Belichick, that kind of thing.
Gundy's only 58 too, so he'll go on.
I thought he was 40
somewhere. Yeah, that's right. He's 40. You're right.
Honestly, if I'm Mike Gundy, I cash those checks and I spend the rest of my days golfing in Stillwater.
How about Cliff Kingsbury when he got canned? He went to Thailand, a one-way ticket.
That's
Ended up coming back. Now, obviously, he's doing great things with the football team.
Of course. But I love this move by Mike Gundy.
Me too.
That is a great move. I was never a huge Mike Gundy guy. That's a great move by him. That is an absolutely great move by him.
Stock is also up on Crybabies. Auburn, who, as we know from about a month ago, decided that they were just going to start claiming national championships because that's what they do. They posted this because they're mad about Oklahoma. I guess there was a missed call. I didn't see the Oklahoma-Auburn game, but there was a missed call last week. Oklahoma ends up winning by exactly 7, important to some. Auburn released a statement yesterday, which is Thursday. The game was on Saturday. They have another game coming up. After reflecting, this is, I think
this is from Auburn.
Yes, I want to make sure I get this right. This is the athletic director, John Cohen, regarding last Saturday's football game versus Oklahoma. Quote, after reflecting, I want to take a moment to address what transpired last Saturday at Oklahoma. Since the game, Auburn University President Dr. Chris Roberts and I have had extensive conversations with Southeastern Conference leadership, including Commissioner Sankey. We remain extremely disappointed because our young men prepare each week to compete at the highest level. They deserve to have the game officiated at an optimum level. We fully understand the human element of the officiating process. Judgment calls don't always go your way. Saturday went beyond judgment calls. A specifically emphasized rule was not properly officiated, which impacted the game by giving our opponent the lead. As the SEC acknowledged, the Auburn family and our student athletes deserve better. It's been 5 days.
You know who they're playing this weekend?
It's been 5 days.
Texas A&M. They're a top 10 team.
I know.
Why don't you
We're
focus
focused on that to Oklahoma. That was that's ridiculous.
That's unbelievable. Oh man,
It's been 5
Auburn
days.
Been
it's one thing to release
way.
that on Sunday, right? And then you're just you got to say what you wanted to say, and then you focus on A&M.
Auburn has been rubbing me the wrong way. Stocks up on selling out. So apparently this is per On3 Sports. College athletics is expected to approve legislation allowing uniforms to feature sponsorship patches per Ross Dellinger.
You knew it was coming.
We knew it was coming. Obviously, you got to get some of that money to, deal with revenue share and all that.
When I'm in need.
NIL,
man.
the transfer portal, all that stuff.
Rev share.
Who would be the best fit for it? Because I'm a traditionalist. I don't want to see it on Kansas's jersey. If it had to happen, who would be the best one to put on Kansas's jersey?
KansasNation.com. Yes. You like that idea?
I would love that.
You like that? There you go.
I actually like that. That'd be fine.
That's the winner.
I'd be okay with putting our logo
as a backup. Buffalo Wild Wings. I would go with.
B-dubs would be fun.
That's fair.
Like Pizza Shuttle or like the Hawk.
Yeah.
put a Hawk or wheel logo on there.
Oh man.
Wouldn't that be great?
That's great. Hey, you know what?
Man.
Don't put it past anybody.
No, I know. Also, stocks up on concert tickets. This just pissed me off. So the CEO of Live Nation and Ticketmaster, he came out and he said that he thinks that ticket prices for concerts are underpriced. Do you know? By the way, I just want you to. So he thinks that people are just getting away with theft. Man, we're only selling these tickets for whatever. Do you know what his take-home money was last year? Michael Rapinoe?
Couldn't even guess.
$32 million.
Not bad.
He took home $32 million, and he's complaining, saying, we need to charge more for tickets.
You enjoy a good concert. You went to the Rolling Stones over at
Ticketmaster I did. Ticketmaster has ruined it. You know why? Because they buy up 95% of concert tickets, and then they upcharge the hell out of them. That's the way that these things work. Hey. They create a oligopoly, if you will, not a monopoly, I guess, because there's other places out there, but they essentially create their own price, and other places have to kind of compete with that. So they buy up all the tickets, and then they sell it for way just through the roof. There used to be a time you could go see the Beatles for like $5.
Hey.
You think that would do? No.
Like I always say, there are only two things in this world, and one of them is money.
That's
all right.
true.
We got a couple
you go.
I was gonna say I got a couple that are featuring some
Please do.
Featuring some visuals that you're not going to want to see.
All right,
won't. Stocks up on nightmares. This is something that you will see in your nightmare. Thursday Night Football last night, Battle of the Birds, Seahawks and Cardinals. Look at this. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is absolutely awful. Like, I'm all for it's supposed to be a cardinal. I would imagine it looks like an angry bird.
I like it.
I don't want to see this photo ever again, but I felt like it needs to be shown to the audience. So
I'm a fan of it. By the way, I like his ponytail. His ponytail is fun too. That just kind of adds to it.
Does it look? It looks just like the Angry Bird.
So is that because I know like their jerseys were weird, right? They had like speckled jerseys.
Yeah.
Is that paint?
It's
okay,
just,
so
it's
rubbing
just him
off
trying
on the
to
jersey.
Awesome.
Just
him
good for
trying
him.
to be. Oh, how about
Shout
that?
out to this guy. I am a fan of it. You keep doing it, sir.
Where's his passion on his face? I guess.
Exactly.
All right. Stock is also up on copycats. Let's see the Notre Dame Fighting Irish uniforms. It's not Notre Dame. It is West Virginia.
That's crazy.
Even the backdrop, whatever building that is, looks like something that would be in South
Looks
Bend.
like a cathedral kind of.
It's literally West Virginia. That's what they're breaking out. Only to lose by 30.
When you first
this weekend.
When you sent this to me, this picture, I was like, oh, why are you
Notre Dame?
I was like, what angle are you going at with the Notre Dame?
Yeah. Yeah,
it's not Notre Dame.
It's not Notre Dame.
It's
looks
West
just
Virginia.
Like Notre Dame, by the way, taking on Arkansas. First time those programs who have played a billion different games have faced each other.
Man, shout out.
Mm-hmm. The billion number is rough.
Billion.
It's a rough estimate.
Stocks down on taste buds. We'll finish off with this. We did a fantasy draft yesterday, and Sean lost. And you know what I said at the end of that fantasy draft? Is I said the loser has to eat Skyline chili.
No.
Come on.
No, Gabe Boucher will drink this, though.
No.
See, we don't even need a can opener.
So
it's got this.
So I'm going to go ahead and crack this open. It's Friday.
Crack. Do it.
First one.
Oh, he's doing it. Get all the juices. Get all the juices.
Oh, that looks terrible. That looks awful. All right, John.
I'm out, man. I'm out.
Smell great.
Skyline chili. No, we're sending this back to Cincinnati with the Bearcats. Hopefully after an L. Are you doing this?
Well, you're the one who lost.
Here, I'll cheers with the
all right.
Foley. Gabe, Easton, anybody want?
It doesn't. It smells. It's like sweet. You don't
even need a spoon. Just go for it.
I know.
Now this is not something that I'm gonna do. Oh, that is disgusting. That is disgusting. Aren't you supposed to heat this up?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Dude, it tastes like there's like cinnamon in it.
That's the other thing that makes it bad. You got chili all over your face.
Do I? Where at?
Yeah.
Is it noticeable?
That's our sports stock market for today. We'll see if when we get back, Dan will be all done with his chili, and if he is able to put that down, and drank the whole thing. I got a backup for him right here. After this, we're going to hear from KU volleyball coach Matt Ulmer on Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com.
Hey, this is Cole Ballard, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Back live in the Kansas Nation studio for Rock Chalk Sports. Hey, KU volleyball, big weekend ahead. Hawks are ranked number 18 in the AVCA poll. They're 9-5, all 5 losses to top 25 teams. They're taking on number 8 ASU in the opener at Horsch tonight. Should be really incredible atmosphere there. Let's hear from KU volleyball coach Matt Ulmer, who spoke a little bit earlier this week.
Yeah. Thanks y'all for coming. You have a question for Coach? Fire away. We don't have mics today, so let's start.
Matt, you talked so much in the preseason about the reason for this schedule. Have you gotten out of it what you hoped to?
Boy, it was hard, really hard. Again, we met as a team. So, we've talked about this. Like, some of it was contractual obligations to return back. So we had to go back to Purdue. We had to go back to South Dakota. We actually had to go to Wichita, and we owed Creighton, but I could have pushed that off a year, but that ended up being the tournament to go to. So that didn't give me a lot of wiggle room. But then, the first serve tournament, absolutely would do that all over again. Going to Madison, I would do it all over again. So it's just really difficult. Maybe the one, that was the hardest was playing South Florida in the morning and then Creighton again. But that South Florida match we really wanted, and it was hard to turn that down. I think they'll end up being a top 50 RPI win, so I think that was important for us. Obviously, we looked pretty tired in that last Creighton match, which is very understandable. But I thought we did a lot of good things against South Florida team, and they came after us. So, yes, what did we learn? I think we learned a ton. I think we learned how to fight. I think we learned how to, have some adversity and work through that. To be in all those 5-set matches against some really good teams and, in hostile environments, I thought was very impressive. We had 3 straight matches there where we were in front of like 11,000 people or whatever that was early on. And I think all those things are first for this group. And so you got to go out there and you got to put yourself on the road in this, in this situation and go get in all those and see what you're made out of. And I think we learned that we're pretty tough. Like, we weren't early, but I think by the end we were pretty tough. I think at the Purdue match, I thought we were really bothered by the crowd. And then we had 3 away matches after that. And I feel like even Creighton at the end, like, our serving was good. Like, we didn't seem bothered by that student section again, like we did at Purdue. And that's going to be important for us in the conference season and the playoffs. So I think there's just a lot of little things. Again, we didn't know each other very well. Well, when you're on the road for 5 weeks with each other, you learn who you are. So I think we got to know each other, which was great. Our defense is pretty good. We can serve and pass. Our offense isn't good enough. That's another thing we learned too. So now we got to figure out, how are we going to put that together? What can we do differently? Probably the hardest piece, though, was, other than not sleeping in your own bed, was just the lack of practice time. So we only had one stretch where we had back-to-back practices. So that means there's only one day of practice where we can really work on something, because the rest you're just trying to get reps together, get ready for the game. So I think, even just this morning, we could actually break down, go multiple courts and work on things. And I think that's, really important. That's what we need right now. So we learned, I just think we learned a ton. And again, for sure we'd like to win some of those 5-setters, but we weren't ready to do that yet. And hopefully by the end we will be.
From a morale standpoint, I guess, where do you think people are now, and what was it like kind of keeping them together through some of those challenging matches you made?
I think the team and the staff are very tired, but I got a text message last night from a couple of people asking for extra reps today at practice, so maybe we're okay. I think that's a really good sign. I think there's disappointment, but there's also excitement, because again, even in that Creighton match, which is easily the worst we've been, there's a couple deucettes, and like we have chances, in that environment too. So I think there's a lot of excitement. I think for sure our bodies are tired, but also ready for now what the schedule will bring moving forward, which is a lot more consistency, and no more back-to-back matches and things like that. So there's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel from that piece. And after next weekend, we're halfway through our matches, which is pretty crazy how they were bunched in. But I thought practice today was really good. And again, I think we're looking forward to playing at Horsch.
You feel pretty good about where your rotations are and how the pieces have sort of fallen in, and you are who you are now? Do you feel like you've solved that part of it at least?
No. I think we've learned that certain hitters and certain setters work better together. I think we've learned, we can really pass and we can control the ball, which is huge. Again, I think so now it's, how do we use the setter and hitters, most effectively? Dalton and Chris have both had great moments. A bunch of different hitters have had great moments. And it really has taken everybody to get through that non-conference. And so I think that was really a blessing of our depth, that we can do that as well as we did and be healthy, other than Burns, obviously, which really stinks. But everybody else, I think, feels pretty good at this point.
She's done right for the year.
Yeah, she's done for the season. Yeah, and she's a big deal to us, but she's around still. And now that we're around, we'll actually be together. But her leadership will still be really important, even though she can't be on the court.
How important was it for you to string some games together, some wins together in the middle of that non-conference, just to give you some confidence between all those ranked matchups?
Oh, so important. I mean, the four, what was it, three 5-setters in a row that we lost. Like at the end of that, you're like, okay, like this is getting old. But I think it was 4 5-setters in a row to start the season. I mean, that was again, it was a grind. I don't normally like that word, but it's definitely what it felt like. But no, I think we needed some really positive affirmation. So getting some wins, I think, was important. And again, I think you're going to find we had 4 or 5 top 50 wins, RPI wise by the end of the year. So I think there were some real quality wins there against some good teams. And I think we just started to find ourselves and found a better rhythm and got through that. And so I'm proud of us the last couple of weeks of what we've been doing. I think, we're going in the right direction.
Coach, do you trust the process enough when it comes to postseason seeding and home court advantage that it's not just about one loss record?
Definitely. I mean, especially my first year here with this group, like it's so much about building a culture and so many things other than just the win-loss piece. And I know everybody, that's what most people are going to care about and judge you by, and that's fine. They get to do that, and thanks for paying attention. But for me, like I think my experience shows that it starts from the ground up. You got to build it up, And so again, I think we've had a great buy-in from the team. Even though our record's 9-5, again, if we continue to get better, I think we're still hosting the first 2 rounds. I think our RPI is going to be really solid. Again, this will probably end up being a top 5 RPI schedule, strength of schedule. And again, there's quality wins in there, and the conference is so good right now that there's a lot of quality wins on the table still to come. So I think we're in a really good spot. And again, I think at the end you could see how this, if it works the way I hope it worked, that it all came together. So
maybe an obvious question, but what can it do for your team to finally get to play in front of the home crowd?
I don't know. I'm excited. I think the crowd's excited. I think they're ready, chomping at the bit. The amount of people that have reached out to me, really ready for this. And I don't think there's many tickets available to anything. And I think the team's pumped. Again, I think just the energy this morning, it felt like, felt a lot of good vibes. And, I think they're really wanting to play well in front of the home crowd. So, I mean, we've been in a lot of away gyms. And I know how those teams felt. So I'm sure hoping we get the benefit of that in our home space. So.
How connected do you feel with this group, them understanding you and you kind of getting the chemistry among the girls as well on, what you feel in the preseason as opposed to what you felt after playing 14 times?
I think we definitely understand each other better. As far as why I've been pushing them as hard as I've been pushing them, because again, when you get in those moments, when you're playing in front of 11,000 people and you're on a, national TV game, you want to do well. Right. I mean, you're the ones out there. You don't want to be embarrassed. You want to make sure you're presenting yourself in the way that you want to. You want to be able to represent Kansas the way you want to. And so I think, I've been pushing them since I got the job to take everything to another level from what, this group is used to. So, and I think, again, it almost paid off in some of those matches, but I think they still held their head high. I think they felt pretty good about, the product that they're putting on the floor and what they're doing. I think most importantly, they see themselves getting better. Individually, they can see a lot of growth. I think as a team, they're enjoying playing together. They're starting to find some rhythm together, and I think they enjoy being around each other. So I think they're probably tired of my voice. I think we had a lot of time together, but they're still listening, which is great. And like I said, just being able to come in and get extra reps together or want to watch film together, things like that, that's a really good sign.
Is yours the voice that they typically hear? Bill Self at practice. It's Bill. Coach Lee has other coaches that make the most noise. Are you the voice that they do hear the most?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm OCD in any other part of my life except for this, like in the gym. I'm really particular about what I want to see and what we're doing. So I'm pretty on top of it. I have to do a good job to back away sometimes and let other people have a chance to speak and for them to hear somebody else. So, and we have a great staff. So it's great for me because I can trust them more and more. But at least at this point, when you're really trying to lay groundwork and you're wanting things to be done exactly how you want it to be done before they know exactly what that is, I feel like I've had to be pretty aggressive vocally, to get that there. So that's what I mean. They're probably tired of my voice, but think it's been important.
You don't have to name everyone, so if you just want to say no, that's fine. But anybody surprise you? Anybody that has played above their head to a level that maybe you didn't see coming?
Oh, I think in moments.
Sure.
You know, I think Grace Nelson's had some great matches. Selena against Penn State was fantastic. I think Reese is really trending up. I think her connection, with the setters is getting better and better. She's starting to do some really great things. Giovanna, it's just done some spectacular things. I think both setters, Dalton against Penn State was great. Best I've seen her play. That was a really cool moment to see that. I was really happy for her. I think, go up and down the list. Aurora just had 11 blocks in a match. That was really, really impressive. So I think everybody's had moments. And Swanson's hitting 280 from the left, with 3.5 kills a set. Like that's, if you would have told her that, she probably would have taken it, So a lot of good things. And again, the group is very tight and happy for each other. Again, it's having said all that, it's still not good enough. We're not consistent enough yet. And luckily we have practices to get better at it. But yeah, I think a lot of moments where it's been really exciting to watch.
Hey, Matt, I know the coaching staffs are different from when you were at Oregon. Danielle has been there for a couple of years, and conference realignment has changed things. But does it help that you were at Oregon and you've seen ASU recently and kind of know their makeup a little bit and maybe what you can expect Friday and then to Sunday with Arizona? Yeah, in the Pac-12, it's like you knew what the style of play was going to be from your opponents. Even without whoever the personnel was, you knew basically what you were getting into. Then we went to the Big Ten for one season, and that was a big learning curve, of what everybody would do. And then in the Big 12, there's a bunch of teams I've never played before. So, but ASU is one of them, and definitely one that we played a lot. Although it's a new coach as far as historically, it's been there a handful of years. But his style is really tough. It's unique. They play really fast and aggressive. Two of their better players right now played for me last year. So that'll be fun, I hope, in whatever term fun will be, but I am excited to watch them. They're playing great. But I do feel more familiar with Arizona State's style. And Matt Worley, our assistant coach, is from there, from that area. He was at Grand Canyon, and he's watched a lot of their play too. So it's about not so much what we know, it's about getting the players to be ready for it. So again, I'm excited to have the next couple of practices, try to get them prepared.
Since we're talking to Ryan White today, how did you kind of first identify her as someone you wanted to bring to Oregon and then to here? And what does she provide?
So Ryan was at Oregon State, and so we played Oregon State twice a year, and she would always kick our butt. So it's like our game plan would be don't hit the ball to left back because Ryan was there, and she would just kind of beat us up a little bit. So when she entered the portal, we wanted to have that conversation with her, and then she was going to go to Oregon, and then when we came here, she decided to come this way. So. I think it was important for us to get our first two contacts. Dalton hadn't had much experience setting, and so getting Chris to come, and then Burns had experience here, but just someone that I was comfortable with or knew, and so Ryan coming, and then I just thought that could be a great battle. And now with Burns being out, really important that we have Ryan. But I think she's, even settling in more and more. Her passing's getting better. She was always a great defender, but serve reception could improve, and it has. And again, she was voted captain with only being here a couple months in, which I think is pretty impressive. So she's been a great leader for us, and I'm happy she's a Jayhawk.
How many captains?
We have three. So Dalton, Chris, and Ryan. And there's a pretty big gap from the three of them to the next. So 2 setters in one captain group. I've never had that before either, I think, but it does make sense. Yeah, that's a good sign, I think. You like your setters to be captains. Yeah.
Anything else for Coach?
That's head volleyball coach Matt Ulmer, number 18 KU, number 8 Arizona State. It's tonight at Horsch. After this, Dan's going to give some college football game picks. You're watching KansasNation.com.
This is Daniel Highshaw, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
All right, time for our college football game picks. Top 25 and Big 12 loaded slate. Not only tomorrow, but a few games tonight as well.
If you have a wedding, I feel bad for you.
Yes. October 12th.
I know a lot of people have weddings this weekend.
And a couple, you can't have fall weddings. It's just, it can't happen. All right, Dan, let's start in the top 25. We mentioned this a little earlier, but Lane Kiffin, revenge game of sorts. His daughter is evidently dating the linebacker of LSU.
Is it
anyway,
vendetta game?
Number 4 LSU at Number 13, Ole Miss. Ole Miss is -1.5, over under 57.5.
I like Ole Miss at home here. I know that Whit Weeks probably isn't getting into Lane Kiffin's head, so give me Ole Miss -1.5. I like that one. Give me the under 57.5.
James Franklin is 4-20 against AP top 10 teams. Penn State hosts Oregon. The Nittany Lions are -3.5, over under 53.5.
And he is not going to go over that 4 number. Give me Oregon here to win the game. Money line over 53.5.
Alabama is at Georgia. Georgia -2.5, over under is 53.5. Always a classic.
Always a classic, but Kalen DeBoer, I'm out on him. Give me Georgia here. I like Georgia to cover, and I like them to cover by a lot.
All right, you're not worried about a trap situation there.
Nope.
Notre Dame and Arkansas. We mentioned this. It's in Fayetteville. The two programs have never faced each other in football. It's the strangest thing.
Yeah.
The visiting Irish are -4.5, over under 63.5.
Yeah, Catholics versus Hillbillies. Give me the Catholics in this one. I like Notre Dame -4.5.
All right, one more I wanted to get to. Auburn, they've been crying all week about their loss to Oklahoma. They are at number 9, Texas A&M. A&M 6.5-point favorites.
Their mind is in a different place right now. They're still caught up on that OU game. I like A&M here.
Hey, a couple Big 12 games tonight. One in conference, one against a Pac-2 team, if you will. ASU at home hosting number 24 TCU. Devils are -3. Over-under is 54.5.
ASU is still trying to prove themselves, man. I think that they have a big chip on the shoulder. I love Kenny Dillingham. Give me ASU -3.5. I think they win by more than a touchdown.
Willie Fritz's Houston Cougars have been really impressive. They're 3-0. They head to Corvallis to take on an 0-4 Oregon State team. And, Houston, big favorites, -13.5. Oregon State is in the dumps right now. Over under 47.5.
But they're in the Conference of Champions.
That's true. The Pac-2.
Nah, give me Houston. I like Houston, man. They, like you said, Willie Fritz, he's getting them whipped into shape. I like Houston here -13.5. Give me the over in that game, too, 47.5.
UCF is 3-0. They head to the Little Apple, 11 a.m. tomorrow. K-State is 6-point favorites, over under 49.5.
K-State gets back on their feet. This is going to be a close game, though. I like UCF to cover. I like UCF +6.5. I think K-State pulls it out.
West Virginia looks just like Notre Dame, or at least they will in their uniforms tomorrow. They're +12.5 hosting Utah, over under 47.5.
I like Utah in this game. West Virginia, Ty Edwards is still going to be out, I believe. Give me Utah.
We got Oklahoma State, also a mess. They're getting 20.5 at home against Baylor, over under 58.5.
The Fighting Doug Meachams. Give me Baylor.
Baylor -20.5 on the road. Number 14, Iowa State -6 hosting Arizona. Battle of undefeated teams. 48.5. Real quick, who you like?
I like Iowa State here.
Colorado hosting number 25 BYU. Buffs are +6.5 at home.
BYU. Gotta give me BYU. I think Colorado's not good.
Real quick, Kansas -4.5 hosting Cincinnati. Who you like?
Kansas wins. Kansas covers, baby.
The Courtwright special. For Easton John and Elijah Schmidt running the operations today, and Dan Courtwright, I'm Sean Kellerman saying we'll catch you next week, but be locked into Kansas Nation all weekend long. Thanks for watching. KansasNation.com.